It's Monday, January 16th. I'm Brooks Peck from Dirty Tackle, and you're listening to The Goalmouth. On today's menu of bite-sized soccer news. Ding dong, the streak is dead. The African Cup of Nations kicks off. Dogs versus cats in Liga MX. Zlatan saves the day. And phallic imagery of disgruntled groundskeepers. Real Madrid finally lost, breaking their Spanish record 40-match unbeaten streak, and it happened in dramatic fashion. Real took a 1-0 lead over Sevilla in the 67th minute thanks to a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty, but a Sergio Ramos own goal in the 85th minute gifted his former club an equalizer. Then, in added time, Stevan Jovetic began his loan spell with Sevilla by scoring the winner. Sevilla are now just 1 point behind Real Madrid in La Liga and 1 point ahead of Barcelona, though Real have a game in hand. After all the late winners that the Ramos have scored in big matches, I'm sure they'll let this mistake slide. It's also worth noting that Zidane now has as many losses as he does trophies as Real Madrid manager, so obviously he should be sacked immediately. The African Cup of Nations kicked off over the weekend, and if you're not watching, you're missing a great tournament. Host nation Gabon suffered a shock draw with Guinea-Bissau, who had never even qualified for the tournament before and were ranked 195th in the world as recently as 2010. Elsewhere, Riyad Mahrez salvaged a draw for Algeria by notching a brace against Zimbabwe. And today, you've got the Ivory Coast against Togo and Congo against Morocco. If you want to feel like a true expert come the expanded 2026 World Cup, you better start watching this tournament now. So when Guinea-Bissau beat England, you can say you knew it would happen. We're only 2 rounds into the Liga MX Clausura, but something I've never seen before has already happened. During a match between Pachuca and Chiapas, a dog invaded the pitch, halting play. As wonderful as this always is, it's not terribly unusual. Animals appearing on the pitch happens all over the world from time to time. But 20 minutes later, a cat also invaded the pitch. A dog and a cat in the same match. Now, I've already written a spec script about a team of dogs playing against a team of cats that I'll probably sell to Pixar for $100 million, so don't bother stealing my idea. It's got a greyhound based on Cristiano Ronaldo and a bulldog based on Sam Allardyce, so watch out, Star Wars. Zlatan Ibrahimovic continues to carry Manchester United on his back, this time scoring an 84th minute equalizer against Liverpool to stave off embarrassment at Old Trafford for everyone except Paul Pogba. Pogba became the first footballer to get his own Twitter emoji before the big match and promptly made himself the subject of endless jokes by conceding a penalty with a handball that looked an awful lot like he was dabbing. And as if the day wasn't nice enough for Zlatan, who has now scored 13 goals in his last 13 matches across all competitions, his old nemesis, Pep Guardiola, suffered the biggest loss of his career when Everton beat Man City 4-0. Merry Zlatanmas, everyone. And finally, Dutch club Heracles got off to a rough start against Groningen, conceding 3 goals in a span of 9 minutes during the first half. Upset by this turn of events, the groundskeeper decided to create an interesting shape when he plowed the snow off the pitch during halftime, leaving a special image for the second half. This is a family podcast, so I won't go into too many details, but if you want to see his masterpiece, check out my post on whatahowler.com. There's been no word on whether he will face punishment for his creativity, but the club will likely have a stiff word with him. That's all for today's edition of The Goalmouth. You can find more info on all of these stories by subscribing to our email newsletter. The link is in the show notes. I've been Brooks Peck. Daryl'll be with you tomorrow. Same Goalmouth time, same Goalmouth place. I leave you now with today's Goalmouth top tip. If you're not making as much money as Paul Pogba, it's probably best to avoid painting your initials into your hair.